What is ramp editing? Well, it's actually a term that I think I made up. I don't think I've actually ever heard it anywhere else other than myself, and then I'll tell clients it to make me sound smarter. It's a term that I made up, but I'll teach you what it is and why you should probably use it for the next trailer that you make. So if you haven't seen it already, pause this video, stop it, go take a look at the proof of concept trailer that we made for our future web series, Cycle. So I'll let you do that. Okay, and now hopefully you've watched it. Essentially what I did was I built up the pacing through that video utilizing a sort of ramp method. What you'll notice in traditional narrative is that a lot of the pacing and adrenaline can be built through the directing of a scene, whether it's like the actors start bringing in that energy or through visual style, or possibly maybe it's a more action-based scene. But when it comes to like trailers and music videos, a lot of the pacing really relies on the editor. How short shots will be, when does the music build up? So I want to talk about a very basic method that I utilize for experiential videos and for trailers on how I build up the energy in my scenes. It's a very valuable tool, and I'm gonna coin it as the ramp edit.
Life is certain, calculable.
So I'm gonna be using the proof of concept trailer that I did for Cycle as sort of my canvas for this.
24 hours to accumulate, deliver, sell, trade, survive.
So again, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Tons of spoilers ahead. I mean, there's not, spoilers for a trailer I don't really know exist. Trailers do spoil a lot about the movie, but I don't know if you can spoil a trailer. If we kind of look at the trailer as like a ramp, what you'll notice is at the beginning, it starts off very slow. We have this slow pull away shot of Asa as he's laying on the ground. Now this obviously does a lot of establishing, and we structured the trailer so it started out with a bang. It's like some guy, what is he doing? And then we do the slow reveal. So now to sort of foreshadow to the audience how the pacing and how the video was gonna go, I spliced in little quick snippets so that whenever you're watching the trailer, you immediately get hooked through these little tiny moments. Now you can do that part of experiential stuff too. You can do either little flashes, or for instance, in this video that we did for 29029, I implemented shots of people's faces to sort of hook them in. So you have sort of like wide, vague shots, and then you go into like people's faces, which is also a pretty good hook. But essentially what you want to do in those slow beginning moments is catch the audience with some sort of impactful imagery. So for this, for instance, I did these quick little snippets. Then as the ramp starts to build, I start putting in these like little quick shots more and more often. And kind of like what I like to implement in a lot of my edits is like the pacing of, let's say, a heartbeat. If you think of that playing throughout a scene, the beginning, maybe it's a little slow, or maybe it's just dead, and then it starts to pick up. It's like bump, 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 bump. And then as you get a little bit further, it builds up, and you basically, within the first part of your video, you wanna start with like a mini ramp. So it just kind of builds up, and then it cuts off. And a lot of trailers do this. They just have like this little mini crescendo, and then it stops. So that's what we did. We had this mini crescendo, then we cut to black. So now if we've had our audience engaged to this point, they'll most likely stay engaged throughout the whole trailer. This is the slowest part, but we've given a bit of a glimpse to what's to come. Now we cut to this nice big wide city shot, which kind of is our wide establishing. We've gone through like these really close, intimate moments to catch our audience, and now we have a big breather shot to give everyone a bit of a break and establish the world that we live in. From here, we start to build into the actual narrative. Now this is where sort of your trailer edit should go, is after your first chunk, your first 30 seconds, let's say, where it's more just experiential, our next 30-second chunk, so from 30 to 60 seconds, we go for more information. So we follow our lead character through a day-to-day process. And for this, we built like a bit of a narrative, right? He's dead at the beginning and now he's alive. Where are we going with this? Then again, for this next 30-second chunk, I do another ramp edit where I start to build up these little moments. And basically what I'm doing is I'm building the audience, hooking them on a moment, and then giving explanation. And that's a really good way of catching your audience by building suspense and building emotion, and then giving them information. So build, 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 then information.
Rise up. I write for $1 billion company, focused on ultra convenience. High touch. Low friction.
Now, if you look at the length of time for shots in sort of a ramp edit, especially this one for Cycle, you'll notice that the time frame gets shorter and shorter. So for instance, our first shot is like a 30-second shot that's kind of broken up a couple times, but it's a 30-second long pull away shot. Then we go into like 5-second shots, then 1-second shots, and essentially the length of the shots gets shorter and shorter and shorter near the end of the edit. And that's what I mean by sort of a ramp. You'll start off with really long shots, and then they just start to shrink in time, and then there's more and more information being processed and given to the audience.
Spot your mistakes and steal from the covetous, the wolves.
Now at the 1 minute 10-second mark in the trailer, I have another break. So basically the ramp builds up and then we have a bit of a break. This gives the audience some breathing room, but the suspense is built up and the editing is still fast, but the dialogue has slowed us down a little bit.
Unfortunately, this was my mistake.
Now this is again to give the audience a bit of breather because you don't want your audience to constantly be going through consistent information, constantly processing it all the time. You want to give them a bit of digestion room. So have a bit of a break midway through your trailer. For us, we have it at the minute 10-second mark. Now for this, I give it a bit of breather, still kind of building up a lot of information with these flashback shots of a kid. Then at the minute 20-second mark, I build up the pacing again for our final last 30 seconds. This is where we do a bit of a mood change and we ramp it up to that final chunk where it's really classical music, and a lot of trailers do this where they'll do a bit of a song switch for their final act. To kind of show the audience a different perspective of where the story's going. And it gives it like an ironic sort of structure to it. And then in this final section, I've shortened up a lot of the shots. I'm also diversifying them more. That's what you're gonna notice too. The big thing that I do with ramp editing, and you'll notice with like the Psycho trailer, for instance, is at the beginning, I'm not diversifying the shots too much. A lot of them are living within the same emotion. But then as the video begins to ramp, not only is their pacing changing, but so is their variety. So I'm moving from like some sad moment to aggressive moment to like a sad moment to aggressive moment. And then what you can go is to like your final act is like go between all of them. Give your audience a full range of emotions. So from everything from like really aggressive and scary to adrenaline packed to sad to smooth to calm to fast, and keep mixing that all up because essentially now you're ramping up not only the pacing of shots but the emotion. It's this full range of craziness. And this is where teasers and regular movie trailers do this all the time. And then what you want to do is after that full escalation of insanity, finish off with calm again.
24 hours to accumulate, deliver, sell, trade, survive.
When it comes to a ramp edit, just remember a couple simple rules. The first one is to slowly escalate, then take a break, then escalate more, then take a break, then escalate further, and then take a break. Now those break points are really good to give your audience a bit of a breath, and the escalation is developed through length of shot and diversity. Start your first 30 seconds with a little bit longer shots and less diverse scenes, and then for your next chunk, diversify those scenes a little bit more and make those shots shorter. And then for your final 30 seconds, really make it super diverse shots, constantly changing scenes and emotions, and going really fast. And you're gonna really ramp up the pacing of your scene and catch your audience with a really fun experience. Hopefully that helps you guys build or develop your next trailer. It's a fun process for me to develop these things. If you have any questions when it comes to the next trailer that you're trying to build or structure, you can DM me on Instagram, you can follow me there. I would also just recommend watching movie trailers. They're, to me, I think some of the best editing and some of the best storytelling is actually told through trailers. I'm a huge fan of them. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys later and keep making some great stuff.